Hey, it's Rob with No Limit Engineering, and I want to welcome you to our YouTube channel. We're going to be doing a lot of cool stuff on here, but right now we're going to start on a OBS project that we're going to talk to you about. This will probably be an 8 or 10 part project, and we're going to go step by step through our upgrades and what we're doing. And normally, if we're doing a custom build, we would do like a full chassis like this, or we might do complete new front and rear suspension like we've done on this pickup square body behind us. But that's not what we're going to do. You know, we're going to try to keep this low buck, and we're going to try to do some smart stuff that makes a big improvement. And however it happens, we're going to tell you the truth about it either way, so you know how much money was spent on the good stuff and what we made mistakes on. And I think it's going to be kind of a cool project. So let's take a look at what we got. So we got this truck that we bought, and it's pretty solid. It's got a few dings and dents. It was somewhat nostalgic to me in a way because it was a Choo Choo Customs truck from all the ground effects and the little cab flare on the back. And at first I kind of dug that, but now it may be too disco. We may have to take all that off. These definitely have to go. But it's a pretty solid little truck. Surprisingly, it really wasn't lowered much. They heated the rear leaf springs, which now we have to find better ones to replace it. And the front has just a drop coil, but not a drop spindle. So it really looks lower when the wheels were on it. And we had these beautiful wheels here from probably right from 1992 when it came out. So if anybody's interested in these, we'd make you a good deal. You probably have to come get them because I think the shipping will cost more than what they're worth. But you know, if that turns you on, we'll get you a set. Although I'm not thrilled with it, we're probably going to keep the cowl hood. And there's some other things about it that are not spectacular. Like I hunted this truck down because it has a 5-speed, and I wanted a stick truck. And this is like the NV 3500 transmission, I believe. And I'm going to jokingly call it a jive speed because it's a ridiculous transmission. First gear will almost go to 7 miles an hour if you blow the motor up hitting the rev. So it's useless unless you're trying to pull a tree out of something. And these were not really that great a work truck to start with. So it's just kind of ridiculous. So we hunted down a 5-speed out of a Camaro from the same era. And we're going to swap that in and see how that goes. I've heard some people tell me it's going to work, and some people tell me it isn't going to work, but we're going to find out. So it's got the seat in it, and obviously this has a few miles on it, and the seat's kind of broke down, so the seat's going in a trash can. Because if you ever worked on these seats, you know that these were all foam. There was actually no spring or anything in these seats. So once you crushed the foam, that was it. There was no recovering it. They were just trash can. So maybe these were the first throwaway IKEA seats, you know, that came in trucks. So our plan here is on the rear suspension, we're gonna get some leaves that aren't heated up and bent the wrong way. We're gonna flip the shackle mount, and to make it more progressive, and I'll go over that in a future one. We're gonna do a flip kit in the rear. And I searched down to find, and I actually got these from a buddy of ours, Arnie, at Tricky Ear Suspension, and Tricky Ear Shocks. So this is a part of a flip kit that he does, where instead of having the steel saddle, this is a milled saddle. And I've seen some of the steel flip kits, and I actually had one of these like when they were brand new trucks, before they were old body styles, you know, when they were new at the dealership. And I had a flip kit on one, and I bent the bracket and rolled the housing. And Arnie tells me that he has done that a few times. So we're hoping that the billet mount doesn't fold up and we don't lose any. So we're gonna do a shock relocation setup in it, so we actually have some shock travel and whatnot. We're gonna do a C-notch from Ride Tech, because so far that's the best C-notch I found on the market. And then we're going to build a little torque arm that bolts on to the stock housing cover and comes forward to control the axle wrap, to see if we can get this thing to launch and hook good and corner well without being all bound up. And up front, we're going to do some simple stuff. We're going to put new urethane bushings in the lower control arm, And then we're going to try something with a different spindle. So I'm going to map out all the geometry on the front, and I'm going to make all that available to everybody. I'm going to map out the XYZ on the upper lower control arms and the steering pivots. I think we can use a different spindle with a shorter steering arm that's got better Ackerman, and build. The only part we're going to have to build custom will be an upper control arm and an adapter for the outer tie rod. And I think we can really drastically improve the steering input and the handling and the ride quality of these trucks. Also, they need a much bigger sway bar, so we're going to make a monster sway bar, and we're going to probably go into production on that once we get the rate figured out. And I'm going to show you ways to figure out the coil spring rate on these, so that you don't have to buy the aftermarket drop spring, which doesn't fit and ride that well. How you can buy a spring based on the height and the spring rate to get what you want out of one of these trucks. So about the only new parts I have to show you right now is we bought some urethane energy suspension, body mount, and control arm bushings, and we did buy some wheels and tires for it already that we mounted up today, and these will make a big improvement, at least on how much grip it has. So these are 19, I think they're 19 by 9 with a 40 millimeter offset, and I'm actually going to kind of go through how I measured it out in one of the videos so you guys can see, because you don't need to buy a fancy tool and you don't now have that. And once I have the specs for this, of course, if you have an OBS with stock suspension, they'll work for any of that stuff, so you can use it. I went with 19s because I think they're a little more contemporary, and it gives me a good sticky tire that's pretty inexpensive compared to some of the other tires that we run on other race cars. So these aren't so bad. And I did same size wheel and tire on all 4 corners so that I can swap front to back, because we do plan on autocrossing this thing and thrashing on a little bit. And if you can swap tires front to back, you can extend the tire life quite a bit, and that's a plus. So anyway, that's where we're at for installment number 1. Please like and and subscribe to the channel, and every time we get some more stuff coming out, you'll get a notification, and we'll have some cool stuff going on. See ya.